Hi Changemaker, I'm Holly Rustick here with Grant Writing and Funding, and I'm here to help you grow capacity, increase funding, and to advance mission. Now that might be the mission of the nonprofit you work with or the many different nonprofits that you work for or that hire you as a freelance consultant to work for. All right guys, so we're going to be talking today all about services. All right, how to make money for nonprofits through offering different types of services. And what we're going to learn today is, according to MissionBox, a fee for service for a product or a service for a nonprofit is defined as the nonprofit uses its earnings to support its mission and priorities to benefit the community over profits. Your organization can grow financial sustainability with a fee-for-service model. All right, so this is definitely something that you can do to have a healthy fiscal nonprofit. If you're only 100% dependent on grants or 100% dependent on fundraising, that's not really a model of a healthy nonprofit. And what we heard about last week in our episode are all of the different types of ways to earn revenue, and service was one of those things. But if you want to get the downloadable from last week, go ahead to grantwritingandfunding.com/90. That is a free downloadable that offers all the different types of ways that your nonprofit can raise revenue. So now we're going to go deep into services today. But before we do that, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're new to watching us, so every single week you can get delivered these great videos right to your website. All right, so what kind of services can you actually do for your nonprofit? What can you provide? Well, once again, I'm not a lawyer, total disclaimer, but if you do offer services, it should be in relation to the mission of your nonprofit. If it's totally different, you might have to pay taxes on the income that comes into your nonprofit. So definitely do check that out. All right, guys. So one example we have, of course, are general services. What do I mean by general services? Well, a case study I have today is the YMCA. So the YMCA is probably something you know. It's usually a gym in your community that offers very affordable rates for people to come and experience the gym, take classes, have community education workshops, all of those types of things. So that is a case study that we're using. But other examples, they usually have a membership model kind of thrown in. We're going to talk about membership models today as well, but they offer services for the community. Other examples of services that you can provide that are general services are consulting services. So maybe your nonprofit is really great at doing one particular thing, and you can, say we're a consultant for that. You can consult with other nonprofits to help them get built up at doing it, or even to for-profit businesses. Other things you can do are offer classes. Yes, just like the YMCA does. So maybe you have a great gardening. Your nonprofit does gardening. You can offer a class on how to garden, and you can charge for that class. Maybe you have great artists at your nonprofit, and they want to come and donate their services or just charge a small fee for their time, and then the rest of the fees that are earned and the profits that come and go into your nonprofit. Other things you can do are consulting. So maybe you're a nonprofit, you have your ED or your board of directors is great at different kinds of consulting, and they can do that. Or it's a business model that you can develop. What if you have counselors at your nonprofit? They can also charge for services. Management. Maybe you want to build up HR, so human resources that you can then provide for other businesses. And the twofer on this, so if you're doing marketing services, IT services, human resources, any kind of services that you actually want to build up a business and that's an arm of your nonprofit, then maybe the beneficiaries that come to your nonprofit, if they're looking at training in those areas, you can also offer training and employment. So that's definitely a twofer there. All right, so those are some general services. Let's move on to number 2, memberships. So maybe you have, you offer certain types of memberships, and I see this a lot with 501c6s, and those are such as the Chamber of Commerce's, the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, all of those types of organizations where they do have an annual membership rate, and then all those members can come to the meeting, they're a part of that group. The value that they get is through different kinds of incentives, right? And our case study today is the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce. So I serve on the board of directors, so I'm confident with sharing this model with you guys. And what we do is a lot of our membership that we actually have, so we have a membership, an annual membership for individuals, nonprofits, and corporates, and they're all different rates. We charge an annual fee, And what those members can then do, what their incentives are and the value that they have is they come to the membership meetings and they pay less. They also do have networking. We have different networking events. We have mentorship programs. We're even opening a business center so they can come and they can access the services that we have there. So there's definitely different kinds of incentives that you can provide for your membership. Now, maybe you're like, well, Holly, we don't really have like a membership program like that. Your nonprofit, if you have a smaller nonprofit or something like that, you can still have a membership where maybe somebody pays, an individual pays, $50 a year or $100 a year. And as a part of that donation, you can call it actually a membership where you give them an online newsletter every single month that has the different things going on in your nonprofit. Maybe you have a weekly newsletter or monthly newsletter. You can even have discounts if they're part of the membership. They can have discounts to the fundraisers that you have. Or maybe you can then develop affiliate partnerships with other, even like IT services. And if they're under your membership, they can get a discount to that certain IT provider or gym or whatever it is, right? So you can develop relationships with people in your community for that sort of thing. And of course, they can have exclusivity. So you always want to think exclusivity with memberships. So maybe they attend member-only parties, member-only events, all of that kind of thing. So definitely think exclusivity with memberships and also knowledge. What kind of knowledge can you provide? Some other examples of this is art museums, nature societies, other nonprofits that have these type of memberships. So maybe you do have an animal shelter and you want to have an annual membership. So as part of a member, what I would get is a monthly picture of an animal and their story. And I also get free admission to the doggy annual 5K race. Those kind of things. So you really want to say, okay, how can we offer value to our members and how do we want to charge them? Number 3, tuition fees. And normally you think of this more with education and colleges, community colleges, that sort of thing, where they actually do charge tuition rates for their nonprofits. And you think, well, what? There's not that many nonprofit universities. Well, there are really. Maybe you just didn't know because maybe their rates don't seem like they're super dirt cheap, but they do provide they put that income right back into their school and they make their school even better and better. And some examples of these nonprofit schools are the University of Southern California, Georgetown University, Boston University, etc. So yeah, some great universities that are nonprofit because they put the profits back into their schools. But once again, you could look at charging tuition fees for certain classes that you provide. Maybe you're doing a gardening class, right? You can actually charge for those types of things. So definitely think tuition rates when you're looking at services. All right, number 4, speaking engagements and appearances. So maybe you're executive director, board of directors, or volunteers at your nonprofit. They could actually earn money from doing speaking appearances. So they could go out, they can speak nationally, they can speak at international conferences, or maybe just even locally at Rotary clubs and that sort of thing and charge a certain fee. All right, so our case study today is Bethany Hamilton. And if you don't know Bethany, please check her site out. She's amazing. She actually lost her arm in a shark attack in Hawaii, and I actually remember that I was there when that happened. I was on Oahu, and she was on another island, but I remember that the day that happened. But since then, she's actually surfing again. She's won gold medals after that. She's become like this inspiration for people who have been attacked or just for other amputees. And she has a nonprofit called Friends of Bethany, where they hold an annual conference and they also do speaking engagements and they charge for their services, which then fund the nonprofit so they can go out and they can help people who have been in attacks or have been traumatic amputees. So that's definitely a case study. So other examples, like I was saying, are you could speak at national conferences, at Rotary clubs, at chamber events, at university events, community colleges. All of these places are always looking for people to come in and to hear a story and to hear different, learning, knowledge sessions, all of these sort of things. So if you can offer that, put it out there and charge for it. And number 5, renting space. So if you're renting out a headquarters already, if you're renting out a large area for your nonprofit, chances are you're not utilizing the space 24/7. And even if you're not renting it, it's already paid for, but you're not utilizing it 24/7. So how can you utilize that space at all times? You can rent it out. So What are some examples of this? Well, our case study today is the Elizabeth Street Garden. And that is a great, beautiful garden in New York City. And what they've done is they've really built up this place where they can have, it forms the community more. All the community members can come there. There's gardens there. It's just a space to enjoy nature. It's a space for people to feel like they're getting away from the city. And it's also a place where the different schools can bring kids for field trips and they can learn educational things about nature. Really, really cool. You should definitely check out their site. I love it. So that is our case study today. But what they do is they also rent out the garden for photo shoots, for weddings, all of those types of things. And then those monies go back and they fund their programs. They fund to protect and preserve nature, to take care of the land, all of that sort of stuff. Also their PR, their website, all of that, so they can continue to raise awareness about their natural space. But other forms of renting out your space include renting it out. So you could rent out if you have a conference room or something like that, maybe you could rent it out to solopreneurs or startup entrepreneurs who need the additional space from time to time for holding workshops or doing interviews, that sort of thing. And they don't want to do that at a coffee shop, right? So you could definitely rent it out to them. You could also rent it out to other nonprofits or associations. So people that are having AA meetings, or, they just need to hold different events, where you could rent it out to them. You can also rent it out to for-profit businesses. So maybe they just need additional space here and there. You can also rent out your space to individuals who are, they want to throw a baby shower, they want to throw a wedding shower, a funeral, a baby shower, even birthday parties, all of these types of things, and they're looking for that space. And of course, if you have an outside area, you can rent that area out. Maybe you could rent it out so people can do car washes there, or they can do photo shoots if it's a beautiful area, weddings, all of that type of thing, just like the Elizabeth Street Garden does. So if you have a beautiful space outside or even on your roof, if you have a garden up there or something, that could be a great thing that you could actually rent out and get money from. So all in all, those are 5 ideas to kind of get you thinking about different services that the nonprofit that you work at or that you work with can provide. So once again, just to go over that, you can have general services like we talked about: consulting, contracting, renting out different spaces, doing classes, that sort of thing. You can also do memberships. So you could do a membership style where you have individuals or corporates or other nonprofits pay an annual or a monthly fee, and then you offer different incentives. You can charge tuition rates to all the beautiful, wonderful classes that you can offer. You can charge for speaking engagements or conferences that you put on. And you can also rent out your space or your area. All right, guys, so that's what I have for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about the different products that your nonprofit can create to provide revenue. If you have any questions, once again, Holly@grantwritingandfunding.com. And please be sure to check out the downloadable from last week that goes over all of the different ways of revenue that your nonprofit can raise. And that's at grantwritingandfunding.com/90. I'll see you next week.